Hi friends, welcome to codewithsugi YouTube channel. So in the previous video, we have discussed about what is meant by instance method and what is meant by static method. We saw everything in a theory way. So this is the right time to discuss all those things with some examples, right? So I'm going to create a project called method project. Okay. So we have created a project methods project. Then I'm going to create a package com.learning.methods. So here I'm going to create a class called instance method. Okay, so obviously we need a main method, so I'm going to select it. So now we have class called instance method, right? So in the previous video, I have specified that how to create a method, right? So what is the syntax of that method? Fine. The syntax of the method will be like this, right? So obviously first we have to specify access modifiers. Okay, any one of the access modifiers. Then the next one we have to say return type of the method. Okay, then we have to say method name. Then obviously it will get the open and close bracket. Okay, then based on your requirement, the method may have parameters. So then we will have open and close curly brace. So inside of this open and curly braces, we used to write the logics. So before we get into this method declaration, first we will discuss about why these methods are required. Okay, so before we discuss that, I will create a method so that we can easily understand it. So we have four modifiers that I'm going to take public as the modifier now. I will say void because I'm not going to return anything in this method. So that's the reason I'm taking void. Then method name, I can say instance method without parameters. Okay, so without parameter means I'm not going to pass any parameter. So now this is our requirement. We will discuss about why this method is needed in Java. So if you are not aware of what we have discussed till date, so you don't need to worry. We always used to add all the links in the description. So please go ahead and have a look at the previous video. So whatever we are writing inside of method, we used to say logics. Okay. Or precisely if you want to say, we can say it's a business logics. Okay, fine. So let's consider this instance method without parameter is having a logic like it's going to print a hello world. Fine. So now just I'm going to copy this. Okay. So let's consider we don't have any method in this class. Okay. So if now I want to create or if I want to do some logics inside of this class, whether it is possible to write the logics without method or not, let's see. So just I have pasted that logic over here. Now if you go here, it's giving some errors, right? So it's clearly saying that I am not able to understand what you are telling. Okay, so that's the reason whatever logic you are having, that needs to be implemented inside of the method. Okay, so that's the reason we are having methods in Java. Fine, now we understood, right? Say for example, if I cut this, already we have this logic inside of this method. Now it's not giving or it's not complaining anything. Okay, the compiler is okay with the implementation whatever we have. Now I think you have some idea about why we are having a methods in Java. Fine. Now I told, right? So this is the instance method. If we are saying it's an instance method, obviously we need an instance or object to call this method, right? So in the previous video, we already discussed about what is the use of main method, right? So without main method, you cannot execute Java program. So if you want to create or if you want to access whatever we have in this class, then obviously we need an instance or object, right? So now we create one object for this class. We all know how to create an object. If you are not aware, then please have a look on the previous videos because we have discussed that in a clear way. Fine. Now we have a object or instance for this class instance method. Okay, so now with this object you can access whatever you have inside of this class, right? Okay, because the class scope is start from here and the class scope is ending here. Okay, so with this object you can easily access whatever you have inside of this class. Fine. So now I'm going to say object dot instance method without parameters. If we say this, that means we accessed this method with help of the instance of this class. Okay, so now we go and run this. We see what's happening. See, we got the output as hello world. Now we know how to create instance method and how to access that method. So the next type of method, instance method with parameters, and we are not returning anything. We can create like public void instance method with parameters. Now I'm going to write some logic inside of this. Now to understand it in a clear way, I'm going to say this is instance method without parameters. Okay, now I'm going to say like instance method with parameters. Okay, so if it is a with parameter, then at least we should have one parameter, right? Let's say string name. Fine. So in the previous video, we already discussed about scope of the variable, what is meant by local variable, what is meant by global variable, all those things. If you are not aware, please have a look on the previous video. Now I am going to say plus name. Now I am going to print like this. Now let's see how to access this method. Already we have object for this class or instance for this class. Object, then instance method with parameters. Fine. Whenever if you hit the enter, after selecting that method, by default, based on this variable, it's putting its default value. Okay, so already in the previous video we have discussed about default values of the variables or data types, right? If you want to know more about the default values, we have a separate video. Please have a look on that. The string will have the default value as null. Okay, that's the reason the Eclipse is giving you null as a default value whenever you're calling this method. Fine, but I don't want null here. I want to pass some value like hello world. So this is how you have to call the instance method with parameters. Okay, whatever parameter you have specified it here, that value needs to be passed in this method. Okay, whenever you calling that method, you have to give the values for the parameters. Then this value will be assigned to this name. Then this name, whatever operation you are doing here, that will get applied, and then based on that you will get the result. Now if I go to run as, and if I run this program, I'm getting, see, this is instance method without parameters, instance method with parameters, name, hello world. Okay, so I will say like this. We have discussed about two types of methods without return type. Then if you use return type, then obviously you will get two methods. One is with parameter and another one is without parameter, right? So now I'm going to copy this method and then I'm going to paste it here. So if you paste the same method, then it's giving you an error like it's a duplicate method. Okay, so that means you cannot use the same method signature. Already in the previous video we have discussed about what is method signature, right? So method signature, we used to say method name and the argument list. Okay, this part we used to say method signature. So if the method signature is same, then the compiler will understand that we have already same method signature in this class. So it will not allow, or the compiler will not allow you to have the same method name. Okay, fine. So for that we need to do some changes, right? Instance method without parameters with return type. So now see, it's not complaining anything. Now it's fine. What we have mentioned, it's a without parameters but with return type. So we have to specify some return type, right? So we all know whatever we have inside the println is a string. So now I'm trying to return that string value. Okay, so I have specified string over here. Okay, so once you change the return type, the compiler is complaining you like, hey, you have changed the return type, so you need to specify return statement. Okay, so whenever you are trying to return anything from the method, then that needs to be specified in the return statement. Okay, fine. Now I'm going to just cut this and I'm going to say return, then this bracket should not be here. Now I'm going to copy this. Fine, I have pasted it. Okay, and now the compiler is okay with the declaration and definition. Fine, so now it's not complaining anything. Now let's see how to call or how to access this method. Okay, I'm going to say object dot instance method without parameter with return type, right? Fine, so it's done, right? I'm going to run this program and we will see the output. Okay, so now we got only two outputs. One is from this method and another one is from this method. And we are not getting the output of this, right? Why? Because you just return the value. Okay, here you are not at all printing anything. You just return the value to this method. After the computation, the result is returned to this method, but we are not at all printing that here, right? So that's the reason you are not getting output here. So how to print this? Then here you have to make a sysout and then just put this entire method calling inside of the println. Okay, And then if you run now, see, we are getting the output as expected. So whenever you are trying to return this value, then if you want to see that value, whatever returned, then you have to print it. Okay, fine. Or you can very well save that value in another string. Okay, say for example, string str equal to, we will say object dot return type. Okay, now whatever value you got out of this will be saved into this str. Then if you print this, you will get the same output here. I'm going to say I'm printing via str. Okay, then you will say str here. So now if you run this program, you can see the output like I am printing via str. This is instance method without parameters with return type. Now I think you got an idea about what is meant by return type and how to handle that in the method. So this return type value, whatever you are specifying in this method, should be compatible with the return value whatever you are returning from the method. Okay, that means, say for example, now you have specified it as string and here you are returning string only. So now that's compatible, no issues at all. Let's we consider this is integer, but you are trying to return a string value. Then suddenly the compiler will understand that there is an incompatibility between the return value, whatever the data type we have specified in the method is incompatible. So you have to make the changes to make that compatible. It's saying like mismatch cannot convert from string to integer. Now it's fine. So the next type of method will be, we have to make it as with parameters with return type. Say for example, already we saw an example with string. Now I am going to say integer. Now this is instance method with parameters with return type. Okay, and then value is plus a. So now if you run this program, here whatever value you are passing, that will be concatenated with the string. Finally we will get a string only. So that's the reason it's not giving any error. Okay, so here let's we go and try to print this with the sys out. Okay, then object dot instance method with parameters with return type. Okay, so we already discussed, right? Here this method is having a parameter as integer and the default value of integer is 0. That's the reason by default we got 0 here. Okay, so I'm going to say 10. If you run this program, so we got the output as 10. So I think now you have some good idea about what is mean by method, how to create a method, why we need a method in Java. Okay, what is the syntax of that method, all those things we have discussed. So I hope we have discussed all those things about instance method in this video. So in the next video, we're going to discuss about how to create a static method and how to access the static method. All those things we will see in the next video. If you guys have any doubts in this method creation or what is meant by instance method, then please feel free to put your comments in the comment box so that we will try to have a look and we will respond to you as soon as possible. Thanks for watching our videos. Please subscribe our channel for more videos like this. Keep supporting us. Thank you.